Relevant Recruiter Group, what is up? Welcome to another Relevant Recruiter podcast. This is Donnie Gupton, and I've got some really awesome guests today. I'm so fired up to be joined by Terry Edwards and Drew Edwards from across the pond. First off, guys, thank you for staying late at work today and joining me on the show.
Donnie, it's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's just get right into this. You know, Terry, I want to start with you. We're gonna start with the boss, as we just joked about. Drew, we'll let you talk about that later if that's what's going on. But Terry, give us a little bit of background about how you got started in the recruiting industry.
Yeah, so I've been in the industry for 24, 25 years. So I worked for a business called Computer People, who were quite big in the UK many years ago, and they had a search division called St. Martin. So my background is all search and retain search, executive search. So worked for them for a number of years, and then went off on my own, set up my own business. Had some good times and some bad times. Believe me, I had some bad times working for myself. And I think, like a lot of recruiters, you kind of think, hey, listen, I'm doing this for other people. I could go and do this. I could do a better job if I do it for myself, and I had built a team or whatever. And I won't deny it. It was hard work. It was good fun at times, but it was also hard work, and had those sleepless nights when you're thinking, how the hell am I going to pay the tax bill and all that stuff, as well as some great times, you know, when we got some big deals in. Long story short, but you know, eventually sold the business. Had a bit before that with my partner. We sold the business, but I learned a lot to them. One of the things it soon became apparent, so I suppose nearer the end, is that no matter what the job you do and how good you do the job, that isn't where you get your success. You could be the best recruiter in the world, but if you haven't got clients, if you haven't got candidates, it counts for nothing. And as time went by, I just slowly discovered that the key to success was actually having the ability to generate leads and having the ability to decide who you work with rather than the other way around. Because when the client's deciding whether they're going to work with you, they probably haven't got your best intentions at heart, you know. But if you can say, no, I will decide who I'll work with, and the only way you can do that then is by having a what I call a lead flow, and you know, and having more leads that you can actually handle. So you decide who you work with.
Yep. So
then set up the coaching business, and yeah, which brings us up today. So we work now with owners and directors of independently owned recruitment and search businesses, and we share with them how to generate more leads, make more placements, and earn more money with fewer headaches. And we cover two things really: client attraction and sales. So marketing, and then how to convert those so the client wants to buy from you. And you're probably aware of this, and lots of psychologists have talked about this, that children who work with their dads tend to perform better and be more rounded and more balanced. And Drew came to his senses and thought, you know what, I need to work with my dad. And seriously, Drew, how long have you been with us?
11 years, 10, 11 years.
Yes, it's 11 years.
Wow, so you guys have been at it for a while together then.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So Drew, who's really running the show? Is it you or your dad?
Well, I think, you know, you don't need to listen to us for that long to realize who the intelligent one is. So I won't answer. I'll let the talking, the message, so to speak. But yeah, so basically, like, while, you know, obviously I grew up with my dad running the business. I actually when I was in university, started a telemarketing business. You know, literally just cold calling. And Terry was one of my clients. For that business, I sort of had to learn more about marketing and how to get clients. And then sort of throughout that period, found myself sort of teaching Terry, and, you know, look, have you tried this? In terms of I think sometimes when you work in recruitment and when it comes to client attraction, you just do what you're taught at your previous firm.
Right.
So being able to look, you know, from the outside, a bit like you as well, Donnie, you can sort of see gaps where, you know, maybe if you tried this, maybe if you tried that aren't typically recruitment strategies, and you see them get good results. So I think that's sort of how sort of made the transition. And then Terry practically begged me to help him out, join and help his clients. And yeah, I've been running the show ever since.
Yeah. So how many it's pounds, right? So how many pounds did it take to convince? What was the signing bonus there?
Listen, seriously, I know you worked with your dad as well, so you know this to be true, that, you know, that working with your dad it's the best thing, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
So so as well, Donnie, you probably know that sometimes you have to let them have their ego and let them think they're running the show, but really.
Absolutely. You know who's running the show behind the scenes. You got to just keep on patting their back. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. I get it, man.
On a serious note, though, one of the beauties of Drew joining the business is, and obviously being that younger, I mean, things like LinkedIn and just the things that and Facebook that I'll confess, prior to Drew coming along, I never used Facebook. I had no interest in it, and Drew was able to really embrace technology and say, hey, listen, Dad, you want to do this? And I won't deny, it really opened my eyes to the capabilities and possibilities that we could then offer to our clients.
Right.
And to the very day, there are recruiters out there who don't, as an example, use Facebook for getting business, and more of their prospects are actually on Facebook than LinkedIn. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
But they say, "Oh no, I'm just going to use LinkedIn." And
yeah, and I love that you bring that up, because that's one of the things, obviously we're in the kind of the same space, so to speak. And one of the things is people really, I always encourage people to don't look at these platforms. Like, everyone has these brands for them, right? Hey, LinkedIn's for business, Facebook's for personal. It's just remove the title and just say, these are places where I can connect and interact with people. Yeah. Because there's so much, and it's, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you can find a way. It's not certainly that you want to be spread too thin, but you can almost make any social media platform work now. Kind of going into that, let's just handle an objection really quick. There's so many people out there that still think that the only way to win is on the phone. I mean, but what are you guys seeing with more of that online marketing lead generation from, the digital stuff?
Do you want to take scope first, Drew?
Yeah, I think, when we first came into the industry, sort of from a coaching element, that's one of the sort of key points we talk about. We were really sort of anti-cold calling. I think the classic old school recruiter doesn't really see it any other way. And I think, if you've grown up in an environment, or you've only been taught a certain way, then it is sometimes difficult to see that actually you can do it a different way. So, I mean, from my point of view, I've got nothing against cold calling.
Right.
I think as a strategy, it works. It's just the only sort of downside with it is the time it takes. And, we always say that if you've got, you've got a list of 100 people, one list is completely cold. The other list, knows who you are, has a relationship with you, has received communication from you. Who would you rather call, right? It's going to be the second list, right? And so I think it's just about, having the right strategies in place to warm people up before you pick up the phone. It's not a case of, I think when you say, cold calling doesn't work or cold calling is dead, people think, oh, you've got to use the phone. We're not saying don't use the phone.
Right.
We're just saying, use it in a more effective way.
Yep. 100%. Yeah. Terry, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, just that the average hiring manager gets between 3 and 10 cold calls a day from a recruiter. Hell, if they're getting 10 calls a day, in a month, they're getting 200 cold calls from recruiters. I'm yet to meet a hiring manager that says, I love getting interrupted by a recruiter telling me how good they are, what a great recruiter are. Hiring managers don't like receiving the cold calls.
Right.
Recruiters don't actually enjoy making the cold calls. Now, some recruiters, they do, which is great.
Right.
I don't know, if you enjoy making them, do you enjoy receiving them? Because very few people enjoy. We've all been pestered at home with cold calls, and very few people enjoy doing that. And in particular, at the top end, if your fees are 15, 20, 30,000, do you really think you can call a complete stranger and say, hey, listen, you don't know me, just slide over your credit card and pay me a retainer?
Yep.
And then, so and I want to reinforce what Drew said. Of course, you can get business with cold calling.
Yeah.
But here's the thing to consider. There are over 100 different ways that a recruiter can generate leads. Most recruiters use cold calling, word of mouth, and marketing out the candidates. So they're using 3. Well, think about this. They're using 3. Your clients are using half a dozen. Our clients are using half a dozen. Who do you think is going to get the most business? So If you want to hold on to cold calling, great, but would it be not worth considering doing the other methods as well if you insist on doing cold calling?
Yeah.
It is. Well, none of our clients cold call.
Right. And I think you guys bring up a great point, is it's an in addition to, right? It's if you like it, if it's working for you, but what's the definition of insanity? Is right, trying the same thing over and over again, in getting the same result, I mean, so I think that there's, of course, yeah, the way I always say it is hey, the goal is always to win on the phone. It's just how we get on the phone that there's an opportunity to change,
Yeah.
But also, I think as well, just to add, you want to grow a business, right? Most people in your group, they're there to grow. Cold calling is one of the most difficult things to scale,
right?
Because you get to a point where, when you've got no business, you can cold call all day long, right? You win business, suddenly you've got less time to cold call, and you just by the method that you're using, you create this up and down yo-yo income just because of the way that you're developing business. So I think, that's another sort of really important point. It's really difficult to scale. The only way to scale it really is to bring another consultant on. And, if you look at the success rate of consultants that you bring onto your firm, for most people, we're looking at 1 in 3, maybe even less, who actually work out. So it's just the odds of, again, it can definitely work and does work really well for some people. Just the odds are stacked against you in terms of making it work for you. I think especially if you're just coming into the industry or you're trying to sort of break into, new grounds or a new market.
Yep. What do you guys think? And I'll just because there's two, I'm going to just point these questions a little bit more as we're getting into this rhythm here. Terry, we'll just start with you on this. But what do you think is kind of the foundation of being successful, with online marketing?
With online marketing, I'd say the foundation for being successful, whatever it is, whether it's online marketing, whether it's running a flooring business, I think the biggest thing that most people underestimate is the mindset. And the biggest breakthroughs will come from the mindset rather than the activity, whether it is online marketing or cold calling or whatever it is. Even to cold call, you've got to have a certain mindset,
Right.
So one of the things with online marketing, and I think with any marketing, is this fear of rejection. So hell, what if I post something and somebody says nonsense, absolute nonsense, you're talking a load of crap, and so there's this fear then that's going to happen, the consequence of which they don't do it. Whereas those that perhaps don't have that fear, or they have that fear and they go, whatever, I've got to do it anyway. Because going back to what I said at the top of the call, the reason that most of the hiring managers will not buy from you, or not engage you, not pay your retainer, not because you're a lousy recruiter, it's because they've never heard of you.
Yep.
And if you think by playing safe and keeping my head below the parapet it's going to get your business, well, good luck with that.
Right. 100%. Drew, what do you want to add to that?
So sorry, what's the question? What's the one?
Yeah, just what do you think is kind of the foundation of success for, online marketing and things like that?
Foundation for success is probably, first of all, I'd probably say that I don't like categorizing, online marketing and offline marketing. I think it all should work together for one singular goal, to win the client, right? So I'd say it's an understanding of that and not viewing all these things as separate strategies. They're separate tactics that form a bigger strategy. But I think, as well as the mindset that Terry said, I think it's the willing, be willing to test. I think one of the things that, we see in our programs, or, when you speak to recruiters, is that they make very strong assumptions about what will and won't work without ever actually doing it. That won't work in my business. Or, that my industry doesn't work like that. That doesn't work in my sector. Well, have you tried it? No, but I just know, right? There's this arrogance about it, this ego about it. I think, and again, you may be right, but you also might be wrong. And I think, being wrong is costing you thousands in revenue. I think just test it. Just take a small segment, test it and see.
Right.
Like you said right at the beginning, I think every platform, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, direct mail, telephone, whatever, you can make every platform work as long as your audience are there. You may need to tweak the message, you may need to tweak, how you're putting it across. But I think, you need to be willing to try something different. What else can I add to my current process? What can I do to improve it? What can I do to tweak it? And again, be willing to fail, be willing to know that it might not work, but you're going to stumble across a particular way of doing things or a particular platform that just, works really, really well for you.
Right. I think you bring up a great point there, Drew, with the whole testing thing. I think that's what people misunderstand, about marketing, is really being willing to try and fail, if you will. And I think that goes back into what Terry's saying of mindset too. It's like all kind of comes together of, good marketers are good testers, period. That's my philosophy is, you got to come through, there's obviously, we have coaching programs, but the clients and I'm sure you guys say the same thing, the clients that see the most success are the ones that come in, embrace my stuff, and then kind of make it their own and test and being willing to, it's so cool when I get a client that comes back and's like, oh yeah, I just tried this message and got this. And I'm like, that's where it's at, that's where it's at, is you taking that that ability to test. And, you know, it's like almost if you're looking at the old school of cold calling, you're obviously going to be testing different scripts until you make it work.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's such a good point. Terry, going back into the mindset, I mean, what do you think, you know, from sharpening the mindset, like, do you have any kind of strategies or any tips that you would be willing to share about that? How you dial your own personal mindset in?
Yeah. We just for those that don't know, I had done on my podcast yesterday or the day before. We were talking about this, and I was kind of blown away. We got talking about this and about mindset, and how I do it, and yeah, I have a morning routine. So there's certain things that I do first thing in the morning. So as soon as I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I drink a glass of water. The next thing I do is I go to my journal. I do my journal first thing in the morning and last thing at night. And I just document my previous day. I document 3 things I'm grateful for. I document 3 things that I achieved, that I wanted to achieve. And I then spend 10 minutes just being in that space and just meditating in that space. Then I exercise 5 or 6 days a week. I do something 5 or 6 days a week, but I commit to doing something. And I do affirmations as well. So I have some well-defined goals, and I repeat them every day of the week. I read them, I say them out aloud of exactly where I'm going and where we're going in the business. And people say, why? And I say, well, here's what can normally happen. You can get out of bed, you can stub your toe on the edge of the bed. We've all done that. You then get into the shower. The shower's cold. You've got no hot water. Now you're effing and blinded. You know, your day's now got to a great start. You don't pick up your phone. You look at your emails. Clients pulled out, or candidates changed their mind. Right. What mental state are you in? And it's not even 7 o'clock. And all that nonsense has happened, you know. But when you have a routine and a process that you follow, you can avoid all that. So what it means is I can go into the day first thing in the morning. We work with clients all over the world, be it Australia, Northern Europe, or the States. So I might be on the call at 8 a.m. UK time with a client in Australia or New Zealand. I've got to be in the right mental state. I can't, I've just stubbed my toe and I've got no hot water. They couldn't care less.
Right.
They really couldn't care less, you know, and you've got to be there and you've got to be engaged and present with that thing. So yeah, I say your mind is like a garden. And if you know that perfectly mowed garden and lovely green grass, but what we know is if you leave that garden, it just gets overgrown with weeds and crap. Well, your mind is exactly the same, and you have to work at keeping that mind in the right state. So that was. I hope that answers your question as to what I do.
Absolutely, I love it. It's so good. And we talked the other day, and we've got very similar type of routines, and you know, obviously thoughts around mindset and the things like that. And I think it's just so important to be intentional, you know, kind of about your day. Before I hop over to you, Drew, just one thing, if you'd be willing, Terry, to dive a little bit deeper on the affirmation thing that you just talked about there. You know, so many people hear this word affirmations. I don't know how many people execute on affirmations, but how do you feel like is a good way to write an affirmation? Because I know from learning some of that, you know, there's different ways to create these affirmations. You said you got some big goals. Would you mind sharing a little bit more? Not your goals necessarily, but the affirmation.
Here's one of the challenges I had personally when I set this business up many years ago. One of the conversations I would have internally is, who am I to give other recruiters advice on how to grow the business? Because I talk to recruiters, and I've got a wealth of recruitment experience, but I talk to a guy and he says, well, hell, I've got 30 years experience. And I'm like, well, I've only got 22 years, maybe. So I had this almost, and I didn't create a massive recruitment company, you know, that I could then sell for millions after. I didn't do that. So I had this, I call it imposter syndrome, where I'd go, who am I to do that? So I had to, and I remember, I'll share the story very quickly. I remember I was going to do a webinar, and I don't think, Drew, correct me if you were working in the business, but I was at home preparing this webinar, and Drew said, oh, what you can do is you can promote the webinar on LinkedIn. Now I'm in the room with Drew, and I had to walk out of the room because I was aware that I had this discomfort. Shit, you want me to promote it? Which seems crazy now.
I'm fine with doing the webinar, but I'm not promoting that thing. Yeah. I don't want anybody to show up. Yeah.
I couldn't say anything because I knew intellectually it was my stuff that was going on rather than anything logical going on. And I went, yeah, right. And I just thought I'd walk out. But I remember my stomach churning. That was my stuff. That was my imposter syndrome going on. Who are you to promote a webinar on LinkedIn? LinkedIn, there's all those recruiters there. So to answer your question, you've got to look at your limited beliefs, because whatever you believe is true.
Yeah.
So one of my limited beliefs is that maybe I'm not worthy to be offering advice to other recruitment owners who've got so much more experience. So an example of an affirmation is that I am worthy of doing just that. Another example of my affirmations, when I jump on the call with a recruiter, I'm absolutely committed to getting the best deal for the recruiter and helping them achieve what they want to achieve. So all my focus and all my energy is on the outcome for them. So we talk to recruiters every day of the week, but a lot of recruiters we talk to, we won't make an offer to unless it's going to be right for them. But
Right.
that comes from my affirmation. So every day I say, I'm absolutely committed to getting the absolute best for recruitment and search firm owners I speak to. And if I can't, I'll walk away, and that's absolutely fine. Does that answer your question in terms of?
Absolutely. That's, I love it. That's so good. And I appreciate you being so honest about, your imposter syndrome, because I think that's probably what a lot of people can really, really align with. And, I shared on your podcast, same thing with me, kind of not coming from the recruiting industry. Who am I to teach lead generation skills to people like that? Right. And, everybody that goes through, and I'm sure you guys see it transforming with people that go through your program of, working through those affirmations and how much they actually do help you, again, being intentional, dialing that mindset. And Drew, anything you want to add? I mean, what's your routine? How important is mindset to you?
Yeah, I have a similar routine to Terry. In terms of importance for me, I think, as well as what Terry said, I think mindset for me is about changing your identity. I think if you think about, the person you are now, or let's say you're a recruiter and your business revenue is 200,000 a year, whatever your currency is, but you really want to be doing $1 million. That business owner that does $1 million thinks differently, behaves differently to the business owner that's doing 200,000, right? So I think before you can get to that $1 million, though, you need to transform your thinking and act and behave as if you're from that place. So you need to be making decisions of £1 million or $1 million recruiter before you get to $1 million recruiter, right? And I think one of the things that we see that holds people back, holds us back, is the way our thinking, our mindset has only been enough to get us this far. So where you are now in your business, your mindset's been responsible for that. If you want to get further, you need to transform and become someone different. Like if I think I always like to draw parallels with athletes, right? So we're in the UK, so football is sort of our number one sport here. So you look at, everyone will know, I assume anyway, Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi as the best players in the world. They had to think and behave like that before they became that, right? So Cristiano Ronaldo had to change his diet, change the way he trained, and train as if he's going to become the best player in the world before we got there. And I think same for you as a business owner. You're thinking, the shifts come in changing your thinking. I think for me, the morning routine and all the work that you do on mindset is about, how do I need to be thinking, which then affects how I behave, which then affects the results that I get, right? So if I want to change the results, the foundation comes from how do I need to think. Right. So I think it's critical, and I think I think when you talk about affirmations and mindset and all that stuff, and I've been the same in the past. So it's not a criticism. You kind of sometimes dismiss it as woo, and this airy fairy stuff that you don't need to do. And people come in our programs and they sort of ignore that part of it. But for me, the older I've got, the more experience I've got, I've realized how critical it really is. And actually, I could give you all the tactics in the world. I could take £1 million pound or dollar recruiter, give you all the tactics, exactly what they're doing, exactly everything they want. If you're not doing the mindset stuff behind it, it's not going to work. You're going to get on sales calls and you're not going to come across as with the clarity you need to. You're going to not do the activity at the level you need to. All these things are going to start getting in your way, and that comes to down to the mindset, from the fee you charge, from literally it controls everything. Yep.
No, and I love that the big point I think I really took from that, and lots of great nuggets there, Drew, but that whole, you have to, before you're the $1 million, biller, so to speak, you have to be thinking and changing the way that you are as a person to reach that. You need to be him and embody that person before you reach that. It's
just one thing to add to that. I think some really good points made there is that there's a coach. I can't remember his surname, but he's a coach for Serena Williams. Patrick is his first name, and he coaches some of the top tennis players in the world. And he said something that really struck a chord. He said what they do, they scout around all the academies looking for the young tennis players coming through, and they're looking for the the under 12s top 5. And whenever they interview them, he said every single youngster says to them, I want to be world number 1. I want to join your academy, because he's the leading coach, because I want to be world number 1.
Right.
He said they all say that. And he said, what we do, we get them back to the camp and we say, okay, guys, I want you to do the forehand, but I want you to do it for 4 hours. And he said, what he knows is that the guy that says forehand for 4 hours, how do I know to do the forehand? They're never going to make it, because they're not prepared to do it. He said, but when he met Serena Williams, he said, what I want you to do is practice the backhand volley and just keep practicing it. And apparently she said, I'll do it for 4 hours today. I know you want me to do it for 5, but my wrist is playing up. Well, I'll come back and I'll do 5 hours tomorrow. And he said, that's why she was going to be number 1.
Right.
And we meet recruitment business owners every day of the week. You say, do you want to be successful? Oh, yeah. Are you ambitious? Hell yeah. Are you prepared to do what it takes? Well, and that's the difference. And that's all that's going on there.
Yep.
Yet a recruiter says, I don't want to be successful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's really good stuff. I mean, what kind of books, is there any type of, books that you recommend that have helped you guys with mindset?
Wow.
Where does the list start? Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple of books that we always recommend to our clients. There's one called Brian Tracy, Psychology of Achievement by Brian Tracy. So if you qualify to join our program, you say, hey, listen, we want you to read or listen to this book. It's a must read. There's another one called Profit First. It's not so much about mindset, but it is in the sense of it's about money. It's about how you manage your money.
Yep.
I recommend that to anybody.
Profit First is great. I run my stuff off of Profit First too.
Yeah. We do as well. Another one called, there are so many. Another one, Built to Sell, and it's about a guy that's got a design business, but there's a difference between creating a business and a job. And most recruiters, what they've got is they've got the job. They work and they earn. But when you've got a business, regardless of your personal billings, you make a very good living. And Built to Sell is about creating a business. The E-Myth is another one. It's about creating a business rather than the job.
Yep.
An example of this is many recruiters, they will send out an email. It's got their personal mobile number on it. But think about that for a second. If you're the chief executive of a major retailer anywhere in the world, you've got and you send out an email to them, do you think they're going to put their mobile number at the bottom of that? Now, the recruiter will say, oh yeah, but I want them to be able to get hold of me. Not when you're running the business. You don't, but do you see the difference in the thinking? It's just you think like a business owner, and we think that we encourage you think like a business owner rather than just being in the business, bidding and to earn some money to live.
Love it. Controlling your time, essentially allowing, reacting to everything that goes on in the market.
Yeah.
Drew, any books you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think it depends on where you're in, like the individual's blockage is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be different. I think, books that have sort of had breakthroughs for me are, there's a No BS Wealth Attraction by Dan Kennedy, which is just about, again, the mindset around money. And I find, and the other one I'd say is Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. And I with those books, I mean, obviously it helps with the mindset around money, but I think it translates perfectly to business because, if you read any of those sort of books about wealth creation or wealth attraction, however they want to word it, one thing they always talk about is, abundance. And I think, you need to translate that to clients as well. You need to believe there's enough money out there. You also need to believe there's enough clients out there. But I think for the Dan Kennedy one especially, and this is where I think a lot of recruiters sort of struggle, is it helped me, I guess, get over the fear of, or not necessarily the fear actually, I guess, because it still does bother me if I'm honest, but like rejection, it's like recruiters let the fear of rejection or rejection itself stop them posting a video or sending an email or asking for the fee they want or picking up the phone, as the case may be. Whatever it is, it's just about caring what people think. So I think that helps me sort of be dismissive of opinions, good and bad. I still sort of have fear of doing a video or even on come on this call, like I'm nervous before we go live.
Yep.
But it sort of helped me to have sort of a fuck it. Sorry if you don't know if you allow swear on this, but just like fuck it, who cares? I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. Some people will like it. I know some people watch it and think, we're talking crap, but just being okay with that and just thinking, well, I'm after the people that resonate with what we say and
Right.
how we say it, not the dickhead.
Well, yeah, and exactly. And I think, your dad and I jived around this the other day around, the whole abundance, like what are competitors doing, having each other on their podcasts, and it's because we all know that there's plenty to go around. Right. And I think that abundance mindset is something that really can hold people back. I know for me, for a long time, that kept me right in that same spot, just not thinking that there's, and actually going into affirmations. That's one of my affirmations, every day. There are thousands of people that, want my help impacting them, and just constantly looking at ways to do that. Anything you guys want to dive in on abundance mindset, just as we kind of drive around that? Any thoughts on that, Terry?
Yeah, it's almost alien. I want to say this, but I don't know if it's true. Is that I think that recruitment industry is quite competitive, but I don't know if it's any less or more competitive than any other sector.
Right.
There is this, and we, if the client qualifies to work, we say, hey, listen, you're gonna join some other guys. We do group calls as well. And one of the things that we do in there, your competitor may be in there, but your competitor will share what he or she's doing.
Yep.
That's one of them hundreds of thousands of dollars or pounds, whatever your currency in business. If you want to join us, you must be prepared to do that. And we actively encourage. Look, I had a conversation a bit earlier. There's another guy in the food. We've got 3 guys in the food sector, but one guy's going to do just over around about £1 million, 1.2. He's a solo recruiter. I said, talk to him.
Yeah.
Do what he's doing. And I know that he'd be quite comfortable sharing what he's doing. And we do believe that if one individual can do, £1 million, solo recruiter, or 1.2 in perm recruitments, if you model his behavior and his actions, you won't be too far out. And he's saying, yep. I said, you okay talking to him? He said, yeah, of course I am. They talk to anyway. I share everything with them. Yeah.
No, that's huge. Drew, anything else you want to add in on that?
Yeah, I think it's critical. I think when you when you don't have that abundant mindset, you act accordingly. And I think you probably saw it loads this year, especially with the pandemic. You're probably the same. You have recruiters reaching out to you, and no one's hiring. It's really hard out there. Meanwhile, I've got someone in my program in the same market, but still winning business. And you don't say it to them necessarily, but what's different? It's just their mindset, right? And I think you need to, when you don't have that abundant mindset, you end up one, believing there's not any business out there, so you don't do the activity to get the business. Subconsciously you don't do it with the full intention. But I think you end up working with clients that you don't really want to work with for fees less than you actually deserve. Clients end up treating you like crap, walking over you, and you do it because again, if we sort of come away from recruitment and look at people who are in relationships like that, romantic relationships like that, where their partner perhaps doesn't treat them well, but they stick around because they think perhaps I can't do any better, or there's no one else out there, or I'm too old to find someone new, right? It's a similar thing. And I think you see it working with clients, and having bad clients on your books, too many of them, is one of the biggest things that hold you back, because they suck and drain and they gouge on your time that you could have used to get clients that you love working with, clients that resonate with you, you get on with, you enjoy, they pay you the fee you deserve. So I think it's critical to have that abundant mindset.
Yep.
When it comes to marketing, when it comes to everything,
everything, holistic approach to, and I think as we're all talking through, it's one of the things that we all really agree on, is that really how you do anything is how you do everything. Yeah. Right. So your abundant mindset is not just for your business, it's for all areas of life. Your routine isn't just for your business, it's for, all areas of your life. It's a constant, track for improvement, as an individual. For those of you who are with us live, give Terry and Drew a little love, give us a like, a thumbs up, a love, whatever you got going on there. We're going to dive a little bit into what they're offering. I know one of the things that you guys, really hang your hat on is getting retainers and exclusive opportunities. What do you think, Terry, is the key to being able to really, get a retainer rather than being a contingent recruiter?
So I'll start with, here's the reason why to do it. The average contingent recruiter will fill between 10 and 40% of the roles they work on. Even if they fill 60% of the roles they work on, which is exceptional, it means a lot of time they're working, they're not getting paid. But the average is 10 to 30%. So most of the time they're working and not getting paid. You then got a team. So most of the time your team are working, they're not going to get paid. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
The alternative is you say to the client, you have a conversation with the client, and the client talks to you about how critical the role is and why they want the key players and why they don't want to share the key players with their competitors. And you now have a conversation about working on a retained basis, because the model with the contingency is the quickest recruiter that fills that role. On a retained basis, the recruiter can now say, I can give you all my time. You've paid me a percentage of the fee up front. I know I'm going to get the balance upon completion. You'll get 100% of my time. You're also now working with a client who values and respects you, and they treat you as the hired expert rather than the hired help.
Right.
See, and when recruiters, I was talking to a guy this morning, and he said, yeah, I've got 3 clients at the moment. I said, but you haven't invoiced anything. And he said, well, no, because I haven't. I said, well, you haven't got 3 clients. You've got 3 clients that have given you a job order, but they've given them to half a dozen other people as well. And if you're in a relationship and the person you're with says, I'm dating other people, you're not really in the relationship.
Yeah. That's a great analogy right there.
So why not work less by working, let's say, on 1 or 2 retainers a month and earn substantially more? You got a choice. You can work on 2 retainers and get paid. You can work on 10 job orders. If you fill 20% of them, you can fill 2. What would you rather do? And part of it comes back to this thing about abundance. It's about your own self-worth. Because some people listen to this right now and they're saying, yeah, but my market BS.
Mm-hmm.
Look, here's a fact. There are some recruiters out there that are charging fees of 10%. We know that. We all know that. Some recruiters that do this fixed fee of $1,000, £1,000, you know, they're not dominating the market. We're working with guys who are getting fees of 35%. Their attitude is, that's what I'm worth.
Right.
See, whatever fee you're getting, it's just merely a reflection of what you think you're worth. You can't ask for 35% on a retained basis if you don't think you're worth it and you can deliver on it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that's going on internally. That's not reality. That's what's going on in your head. Yeah, but my market buy on price. No, they don't. If I said to you, Don, hey, listen, we're going to go for it's your birthday and we're going to go out. I'll take you to McDonald's for your birthday. You're going to go, get out of it. I go, yeah, but it's really cheap. You say, I couldn't care less. It's my birthday. We're not going to McDonald's for my birthday. People don't do that.
Yep.
We don't buy on price alone. And people will pay you a retainer if you can communicate the benefit to the hiring manager of paying you a retainer. That's what it's all about.
Beautiful. Love it. Drew, what do you think? I mean, what is the foundation of being able to get that retainer for you?
I'll take you just to sort of backtrack a step. Like you said, that we're big on exclusive and retainers. I think, you know, what we're more big on is running a highly profitable business. And that profit comes from optimization across the board. So, you know, your marketing, your sales, you know, how can we optimize? And I think that's where the exclusive or retained part comes in. Because like Terry said, if you're working on 10 job orders just to fill 3 of them, when you can just work on 3 and, you know, fill 3, where's the optimization come? That's how you get profitable businesses. So that's the first thing. In terms of getting the retainer, I think the biggest, most obvious thing in terms of getting a retainer or getting it on exclusive is just asking a question. You know, although I know people probably listen to this wanting some secret trick or, you know, some secret wording. To me, most people we speak to who won't get retainers, who won't get exclusive agreements, it's like, well, have you asked? No. That's probably the biggest thing you can change. So just start asking for exclusive agreements. But then, yeah, like Terry said, I think it's critical. I mean, if we park the retained part aside for a minute, I think the exclusivity is critical because you want to give yourself the best chance of filling the role. But I think also from the client's point of view, we need to be able to explain that, look, when I find best candidates in the market, I'm going to send them to you exclusively rather than you and your competitors as well. If you want the best people, what do you think, what's better for you? The client's going to say, well, I want them exclusively. Great. Here's how it works. So it's forgetting the benefits to you as a recruiter, which I think are obvious, and I think we all know that. But what are the benefits to you to the client? How can we provide a better service to the client? And making sure we actually explain that to the client. I think that's part of the problem. People, 1, don't ask, 2, don't bother explaining. If they explain why it's good for them, and the client's like, I don't give a shit. Or, but we need to explain why, ask and then explain why it's good for the client. I think most good clients who actually do want the best people, it doesn't make sense for them not to go down the exclusive route. And then once you've got the, exclusivity, the retaining part is just the payment terms, right? Right. So we always say, you want to get exclusive with a cancellation. So if the client can't cancel, if they cancel, have to pay you. You've got a committed client. When you've got a committed client, you can deliver your best service. So it comes down to, do you want to deliver your best service or not, in my view? And I think, most recruiters do. So the exclusive part is critical. If we can push that to get the retainer to get paid up front, or, engagement fee, whatever, the commitment from the client is the most important thing.
Yeah. Great insight, guys. I love that. I mean, what do you think, how does, some of this internet marketing or marketing in general, how does that play into supporting, making it maybe possibly easier to get retainers? I know that, the phone is really where that job's going to get done, but is there a way through market presence that you can make that an easier thing?
Yeah.
You want to go first, Terry?
Terry, you go ahead.
There are four main reasons why a hiring manager will not buy from any recruiter. They don't know you, they don't have a need for what you do, they don't like you, and they don't trust you. And all marketing is to get them to know you, like you, and trust you, so that when they have a need, you're the person that they reach out to. So right. A lot of our clients, they've got meetings booked in their calendar for next month where the clients, they haven't spoken to the client, but with effective marketing, the client said, yeah, I need to talk to you for 10 minutes just about getting an understanding of what you do, because we're looking for an XYZ. So the beauty of marketing, of any form of marketing, be it direct mail, be it the internet, LinkedIn, anything, is that you can get the hiring manager to know you, like you, and trust you, so that when they have a need, they reach out to you.
Yep, love it. It's almost it's as basic as it sounds, really. Drew, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think two things of that is one is volume of opportunity. Mm-hmm. Going back to, I said people don't ask for the exclusive agreement, and that can be on perm or contract. Like sometimes people think on contract you can't ask for exclusives. You can. People don't ask, and the reason is they're scared of getting a no. Right? They're scared of getting a no because they haven't got enough opportunities. I think, having a marketing system, like what you teach, like what we teach, where you've got, multiple platforms giving you these opportunities, then you can say no to some people and then only work with the ones who say yes, right? It's simple as that. The other thing, I think, is timing. The vast majority of recruitment search moments are going out looking for people who are hiring right now.
Yep.
They're looking at job boards, they're calling people who post job boards. It's all who's hiring now, and at one level that makes sense. But when you think about it, if we want to get the exclusive agreement or want to get the retained agreement, we need to establish that relationship before they start hiring, because we need to be first there, right? We need to have that conversation before they've actually pulled the trigger. Mm-hmm. So we need to say, hey, look, before you pull the trigger, this might be a route that you want to explore. So I think, volume of opportunities and also the ability to time it. I think with cold calling or with just using the phone, you're relying on luck at hitting the right person at the right time. With online marketing, you get and sort of more, direct mail, things like that, you get more volume. So we can guarantee we get the right person at the right time, almost.
Yeah. No, I
think that's two things of that.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with you guys on that whole timing thing. I think the other thing that kind of puts you, especially with what you guys push on the exclusive side, is you're just showing up desperate when you're just another guy, hitting that job board, hitting the LinkedIn jobs. Maybe there's a time and place, for that. If you are desperate right now, but you are going to appear desperate when you are doing that tactical type of approach, and instead of, build that relationship, play, I just call it playing the long game. Connect, nurture, engage, and that's where they build that know, like, and trust. What do you think when it comes to content, Terry, what do you think is kind of one of the biggest mistakes that recruiters are making when it comes to creating content and putting themselves out there?
Often the content is all about the recruiter. We've been in business for 10 years. This is our mission statement. Here's a photograph of our management team. And I always say, imagine that you go to a supermarket and you want a pair of a retailer rather, and you want a pair of black jeans. So you go into the store and the assistant comes up to you and says, "Hi, welcome to our store. We've been in business for 20 years. Here's a photograph of our management team. Let me show you around the store and show you all the things." You'd be like, I couldn't care less. I want a pair of black jeans. That's all I want. And when a recruiter sends out a message or posts something, it is all about them. And what they want to be talking about is about what the client's problem is and offering them a solution to their problem. So one of the things we encourage is don't use words like we, us, our, in your company name, but a word to use as frequently as possible in your post is you. Are you a hiring manager having trouble attracting the top performers in your particular niche? What impact is this having on you? And that kind of language, that's about their problem. So when they listen to it or read it, it resonates with them. And we've all seen videos, haven't we? Or read something and thought, wow, that's really resonated with me.
Yep.
But it's not about the person talking about themselves.
100%. Yeah.
Imagine going to a dinner party and you sit opposite somebody and I sit opposite, I go, "Hi, Danny, my name's Terry. I'm now going to talk all about myself for the next 2 hours of this dinner table." You're like, great.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that corporate stiff. Everybody's got that page on their website of why us. Nobody cares. Drew, anything you would add on that, man? What are you thinking with content?
I think the first thing is simply not posting. Going back to the mindset thing right at the beginning, people are just scared of putting themselves out there, scared of being judged, scared of being criticized, scared of not getting likes, no comments. So they just don't do it. The other thing is, this relates to likes and comments is I guess, confusing the intention of content or confusing what good content is, right? Because people think that if I get, 1,000 likes and 1,000 comments, that's good content. And I think sometimes what you'll see people do is they'll post content for the purpose of getting likes and comments. And, there's nothing wrong with likes and comments. But that's not the reason you post content. You post content to get your clients to reach out to you and say, "Look, how do I give you money?" And I think sometimes the best content is the content that gets the least likes because it's motivating and it's exposing and it prods. Yeah. And what I mean by that is, if you take it away from recruitment for a second, imagine you've got erectile dysfunction and someone does a video talking about the best ways to overcome erectile dysfunction. Are you going to sort of be on LinkedIn and be commenting on that saying, "Oh, you know what, I've got this same problem. Thanks, this video really helped. Are you going to like it?" Maybe, but maybe you're going to be embarrassed because your colleagues are going to see it. Right. Same with if we're talking about weaknesses in their team or what they can do to attract better, a better CEO or whatever it is. Are you really going to like and comment on that and let one, your team know that you're thinking of replacing them, or two, your competitors know that you're thinking of hiring? Again, maybe, but probably not, right? So we need to almost throw that out the window and think, actually forget comments, forget likes. What can we post to motivate someone from sort of sitting there twiddling their thumbs doing nothing to reaching out and messaging me or pick up the phone to call me, or, even if it's not, they do one of those two things, which is guess the ideal scenario in their head, we've raised the level of authority with them.
Yep.
Rather than Drew being the person who posts content that I can clap and like to, and, it's all happy clappy. Actually, Drew's just changed the way that I'm thinking about my particular problem. That's what I think, it's about intention. I think the metrics are, we sometimes look at vanity metrics.
Yeah.
Comments, likes, even revenue, like, "Oh, it's so good to have a £1 million business." Well, no, what about profit? "Oh, it's so good to have 100 likes." Well, how many of those people message you and are buying things now? You need to sort of let go of the vanity side of things and just think about why are we really posting content? And then I think when you get clear on that, the content that you post will be very, very different. Yeah. Because you're not concerned with, claps and applause. You're concerned with money, right? Yeah.
Yep. No, it's so good because I always call it the dopamine rush, right? Like I want that approval, and that's kind of what society's done with social media. Like if you're looking at your personal life and then we try to take that into business, it's an apple and an orange, because on social media, I post a picture of my family. Yeah. You're trying to get that encouragement. You're trying to get that likes and share with people and things like that. You start taking the business and it's just the wrong approach, because I always just to add on to what you were sharing there, Drew, is like, what hiring manager is sitting around? Yeah, they see the content, but they're probably not the type to engage you with that stuff a lot of the time. Then you take this opposite side of a candidate. He may not be out there commenting on a recruiter's post because his employer might be going, what are you doing talking to so-and-so, so, especially in this space, I 100% agree with you guys. I mean, you cannot be focused on that dopamine rush of like, comment, share, whatever it's going to be, and just, embrace the process. What do you guys, going kind of another step into that, like for somebody that's has that mindset of, well, I want to do content, but I want to wait until it's good. I want to wait until I get it right, first before I start putting myself out there. That's what I'm working on it right now. I get that a lot. I'm working on the content and then I'm going to start putting it out there. What do you guys say to that? Drew, I'm going to start with you this time.
Okay. Yeah, it's just they're scared is what it is. I don't think you can really do good content without posting content, seeing the reaction. Even now, like we've been doing it for 10 years, right? Even now, I'll record a video or Terry record a video. We think that's the one that's going to get 100 messages or whatever, and it bombs. Or that email's going to rip. So you never know until you send it out, right? So, I think
that's so good.
Yeah, you never know, right? But I think it's just fear, and I think as a society, what I find is like we as viewers are so judgmental on other people. Like, think about the times you've seen a video or you've seen someone post and you sort of maybe cringe and thought, I wouldn't do it like that. And we criticize people. And now all that's happening is we're scared that we're going to get that criticism back. So I think, the answer is to just do it. But I think, in terms of transforming your mindset, next time you go on social media or you see someone post a video, whether it's good or bad, I think I applaud them. Like just for making the effort to start saying, well done for doing a video. I know it's quite difficult to do videos. I'm trying myself. And then I find that your mindset starts changing to how you view people that do videos, rather than it being, you viewing it as this cringe thing that people do, which is exactly, I mean, if I'm honest, that's what my view was. It's sort of like, actually, no, they're trying to better themselves, they're trying to better their business, trying to provide value. And that's what I'm trying to do. No matter how it comes across to an individual, even if they think I'm boring or whatever, no, I know what my intentions are. And I think, just get clear on that. But the short answer is just fucking do it. Pull the trigger.
Yeah. Terry, what do you anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think what Drew says is spot on. I think that I believe that that form of I'll do it when it's just right is just a form of self-sabotage.
Right.
If you consider it intellectually, again, perfection doesn't exist. I've never seen a video and I thought that's perfect. And I thought it was interesting.
How about mine?
Maybe yours.
Besides yours, Drew.
I think Drew made, we've all done it. I bet you've done it as well. You write a video, you do a video or you do a post or something, you think, that is the business. And it just bombs. You're like, are you kidding me? It isn't. Yeah, and it is, just to summarize, it's just a form of self-sabotage. That's all it is. And it's just your ego getting in the way. And you just have to acknowledge, this is what's going on. It's my ego trying to protect me. To hell with it. I just need to get this out there.
Yeah. And I think you guys, again, such a good point around that whole, fear of rejection. And, I'm not going to put myself out there until this is perfect, because perfect doesn't exist. I always use the whole thing, hey, progress, not perfection. And it's funny you guys bring that up, because I talk about that all the time, with my students who go through the program. It's like, there's stuff that I've grinded on for hours and thought it was the best thing in the entire world. And then I go whip up a post in 5 minutes, and the one in 5 minutes has got, it's pulling people in, and, it's like, what, and that's where you're going back into the whole point of like the dopamine is you see certain people on LinkedIn, they have these huge followings, but they're not really an authority. They're just a LinkedIn, guy that's got a good meme program, if you will.
No, yeah, literally that.
Yeah. And memes are going to get likes, they're going to get comments, they're going to get shares, and I put there was this video, this truck, the trailer gets hit by a train, and it says recruiters, and then the trailer on the trailer that somebody wrote on their counter offer. And then it's a train coming through and blowing that thing up. I post that, I post these nice, thoughtful videos, get a couple likes, 1,000 views, post that, there's like 10,000 views. And but it goes back to the point of it's really meaningless.
Yeah.
It's really meaningless, But
yeah.
Gosh, thank you guys so much. I mean, this has been a lot of fun. Really great insights. I think we're probably gonna have to do a part 2 series of this at some point in time. We could probably keep on jiving, but I want to give you guys a chance to, let everybody know how they can connect with you and get to know you guys a little bit more. Terry.
So yeah, so we've got a group on Facebook called the Make More Placements Community for Recruitment Search Firm Owners. Please come and join us on that group. And each week we share with you tools and techniques for generating leads and getting more business. That's, of course, that goes without saying, that's absolutely free. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. That's Terry Edwards on LinkedIn. And our website is makemoreplacements.com. We've got some free tools there and free training videos how you can generate leads. If you go to makemoreplacements.com, that's our website. But yeah, if you reach out to me on LinkedIn, I'm more than happy to connect with you. Anything to add to that, Drew?
No, I mean, yeah, obviously feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn as well, Drew Edwards, DREW. But yeah, makemoreplacements.com is our website. Obviously, we hang out in the Facebook group, also in Donnie's group as well. So, no doubt that if you're watching that on there, we'll probably, cross paths in that group as well.
Excellent. And I know we got a couple of good comments. Somebody was asking about some of those books on our feed here. So if you guys don't mind popping in, throwing those mindset books that you guys dropped in earlier. They would appreciate that. But guys, I can't thank you enough for taking time to chat with me today. Relevant Recruiter Group, we will see you next Friday. Next Friday, we'll be interviewing another competitor, Stephen Patterson, in the group as well. So you guys have a great weekend and a great Friday. Finish the week strong, and we'll see you all soon.
Thanks for having us, Donnie.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man.